Hey there everybody, Lombo360 here back again for another video. But before I start this video, I think it's fair that I give a little bit of a disclaimer, because when I say that I'm obsessed with this game, I mean, I'm obsessed with this fucking game. And that I'm really hoping that when it comes to this whole yap session that I'm about to do, that I actually can, make a full, coherent set of points that I want to make, so I don't come off as some type of schizophrenic person that can barely make a coherent sentence. So, with all that being said, let's get into Neon White.
Not bad for a dead guy.
Heaven is a trip.
So when it comes to my little origin story surrounding Neon White, it's honestly kind of funny, because on one hand, when I initially found out about this game, it was like, what, 2 years ago when I was watching some Nintendo Direct, and there was a certain character which caught my eye, but I just never really kept up with the game. Not that I found it bad or anything, but you know, life happens and I just never really got around to keeping up with it, despite me finding it being pretty interesting. So imagine my surprise when in a good old year of 2025, I sure hope that does not age absolutely terribly, that I ended up coming across this very same game on Xbox Game Pass, and man, little did I know that I was in for a fucking trip. Because if I was going to describe Neon White in a nutshell, it feels like fucking crack cocaine if they somehow managed to make it into a video game. Because I don't know what type of alchemy the developers were cooking with, but they sure as hell managed to make a good impression with this one. Because I'm telling you, man, the flow state of this game is so damn addicting that I think I finally see the vision when I finally see a crackhead just tweak it over the next itch, man. Like, it's just so damn good that it feels like those times when people are able to perfectly articulate everything in a certain gourmet meal and explain about why everything works. But before I sound like a crazy person trying to explain about how much I love this game, I think it's fair that I talk about its ingredients, which are its gameplay mechanics. Now, when it comes to Neon White's gameplay, at its core, it's a game about speedrunning, getting from point A to point B in the fastest means possible, and well, trying to up your record on how fast you could do that once you finish the game, or just in case you want to get some of those gold medals. But at the core of this game, between all of that lies its soul cards, which basically are the bread and butter of this game. Because remove these things, you don't even have Neon White anymore, it's just Neon or White. Man, I really hope my editing can save my horrible jokes, but to get to the point, at first the game starts out pretty basic when it comes to these things, with the first card that you get being the yellow card. This is both a pistol, which is incredibly weak unless you're using it against low tier enemies and certain objects, and also being able to give you the ability to have an extra jump. And this thing's going to be appearing a lot throughout the game, so despite it not being all that good damage-wise, this thing is more or less going to be your best friend for a majority of the game. Then after that comes the purple card, which is where things start to get interesting. Not only because this thing's a machine gun, but also it has a bomb which can not only destroy enemies, objects, but also has the ability to launch you. Blue one is a crossbow which can do a dash through objects and enemies. Green is a stomp that could, well, be a machine gun and stomp through objects and enemies. Red is a shotgun which can make you to a fireball. And then one of my favorite ones by far probably has to be the Kion one, which is literally a rocket launcher that can launch you in the air from its splash damage, and also can count as a little bit of a grappling hook, which I have to say is really fun. And then of course there's an end game card which you get for a whole set of levels, which pretty much gives you the ability to teleport, which is just so fucking fun. More or less the point that I'm trying to make is that at its core, these cards pretty much make the game, but it's also the way about how the level layouts do, which is honestly kind of interesting. Because in some cases, some entire levels will be dedicated to one card specifically, and you just gotta use your brain for how to keep them or how to preserve some, while also discarding others. And in some other cases, it's just like, oh no, you're just going to be flipping it between all of these in order to perfectly match that flow state. Though I will have to say, for every time where you do reach the flow state for a certain level, there will be moments where you get frustrated a lot. Because as much as this game is addicting, it could be very very tiring. Like, no, not to say that there's anything bad, like, hell, there's only like 4 levels I kind of like legitimately hate, but at the same time, with how this game is structured, if you die, you have to start all the way from the beginning, and half this game is just trying to find out the level layout, while also at the same time trying to get to that end of time, to get to that end goal as fast as possible. And if you fuck up, whether by dying or actually by reaching the end goal by just missing one enemy, then yeah, you're kind of screwed. It's only really the end game where you end up not having to really pay attention to every single enemy which you have to kill, because by that point you're just kind of just rushing on purpose due to the nature of the gameplay and due to how everything is going. Though I will say, when it comes to that flow state, it is just so fucking addicting to the point where you just can't get enough of that itch by the time that you reach it. Not only that, but when you finally start grinding out those gold medals, which sure isn't necessary because the game is rather generous when it comes to things like your neon, right? You're someone like me, you're gonna be someone that's like what, at neon rank 10 by the time that you get to the end game, despite the game probably thinking that you just needed to get to 30 just in order to progress at some points. Kind of funny how life works. But I think it's best I now talk about another thing, which is the aesthetics and also level design. Now, this game's aesthetic, when it comes to its level design at least, has to be one of the more interesting ones if I were going to be honest. Because I don't know, it kind of feels like after playing so many games where every game just kind of has a distinct tone with how it looks aesthetic-wise, you're just kind of used to something that's rather overly futuristic, something that maybe has some cyberpunk in there, or maybe even something apocalyptic. Yet at the same time, you have Neon White, which is a game which is set in heaven, yet at the same time, no two levels are really exactly the same. Like, sure, there's a visual aesthetic to make one series of levels or one chapter stand out from another, yet at the same time, all of them have something that just kind of makes them just sit out differently. Like how in the very first set of levels, how there's a bit of visual storytelling going on, with us not even really being at Heaven Central yet, and us just being at the Glass Ocean, which is pretty much where all the neons spawn in, and we could even see Central Heaven in the corner of her eyes, or just in that corner of the level if you just look up. The same thing kind of counts for a few other levels where we eventually get to see about how some things directly tie in to the plot, and I have to say it's pretty neat all things considered. And also, this is a good segment for me to just go chill about the music, because I don't really think I could transition to it, but god damn, the music in this game goes so fucking hard that in all honesty, it is just so crazy. I'm not sure if breakcore is a proper term to describe it as, but man, I can't say that there was a single bad track when it comes to this game as a whole. And if anything, if I were going to try and tie that in with talking about the level design, it's kind of crazy how for like 90% of the game, based off just about how the level layouts are, how you're just kind of used to something that's over the top and just dramatic and all that as you're just speed blitzing through everything. But then you get to this one level which is supposed to dive directly into the plot, which just kind of has you sit there and take the level slowly. Or at least that's how I did it, because damn, I don't know. It was kind of weird going from all this crazy over-the-top music to just going from something that's so oddly calming. And don't even get me started on the challenge levels, because boy, that's a story for a whole other day. But I think this is the point right now I'll try to talk about the lore, or at least what I can with my own little crab brain. So the story for Neon White starts off pretty basic, with it being established that we are a Neon, someone which pretty much was a sinner in life and are now participating in this yearly anime death tournament where a bunch of us get to play Exterminator in an overall free-for-all, as we all get the very small but slim chance that we might be able to save heaven, at least for a year until someone rather else takes the crown, or at least until we die. Because turns out that being a Neon isn't something that's a fun experience, it's something that just kind of pretty much sucks in the first place, because it's not like some type of anime where you get a cool power. You're just as much as liable as anyone else to just die on the battlefield and more or less just be gone for the remainder of the time until someone else takes your place to be part of the whole meat grinder. And in our case, we're someone which just got into heaven with no memory about what the hell happened, despite all of our old co-workers, including our old mentor slash boss also being here, which is the reason about why we're here in the first place. So with that set in motion, we of course try to start things off by trying to get our memory back in the limited time that we have, because this game takes place in the course of 10 days, which is honestly kind of crazy, along with us trying to just play this competition straight with the very off chance that we might win, until it's revealed to us that, technically speaking, even if you do win, you still lose because the believers, which more or less try to pretend to act on the behalf of God, more or less control you with this mechanical halo that you're gifted in order to stay in heaven, which is the position which your old manipulative boss Green is in. Though that doesn't stop him from trying to pursue his own goals throughout the game. So of course this then leads us to trying to think outside the box and beat the game in another way by trying to find the Book of Life, in which it's then revealed to us in later chapters that the entire reason why this whole cycle exists, including the neons, is due to the believers trying to mess with the rules of the universe as is when they had a war with God and heaven itself like a million years ago, or who knows how long, where they pretty much tried to fight against God, won, and apparently put him into this weird comatose state where he's not exactly dead, but not exactly alive either. Like, they made all the precautions that they can to where he can't actually take action, but his presence could still very much be felt, and it's because of them messing with the rules of the universe as is that pretty much this whole cycle, including the neons having to go exterminate a bunch of demons, is even a thing. Oh yeah, and also the entire reason about why the neons exist is due to the fact that their masks are made out of the very same material that the bodies of the angels were made out of when they rebelled against them. So yeah, that's pretty metal. So overall, I do think that when it comes to this game as a whole, that it's pretty damn good. Like, even if you don't care about the story, that there's just a lot to offer when it comes to the gameplay, and honestly, it kind of feels like a shame that I wasn't able to check it out sooner than I did, because damn, this is just such a fun ride that I just can't get enough out of. But I think that's all the yapping I could do for this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll catch y'all next time when I upload it again. Catch y'all later, and well, have a good one, folks.